Hello guys, I'm Protex and today I'm gonna be telling you why triple support is not as good as you probably think. Um, yes, it is frustrating to play, but a lot of the time your teammates might actually be trolling by playing it or the enemies, and you need to recognize it and actually punish them for doing so, and I will show you how in this video. So there are many reasons why people hate triple support. Is one of a lot of them are nobody goes down, the slow gameplay, and potentially the enemy team is gonna be 30 seconds immortal, right? That sounds really OP, right? Some of the characters have a really hard time against it, especially divers. Let's say Cap, Spider-Man, um, Iron Fist, Magic, whoever, Black Panther, and many more. A lot of the time, it feels like your damage is just not there, and you're just doing damage to the enemy, and you doing damage so the enemy can heal it, and it feels like you're just tickling them. And as I said, a lot of characters are not good into them, so you kind of need to swap. And not playing your character just feels like ass a lot of the time, which is completely valid. Well, they do have a lot of weaknesses though. They build up ult charge way slower. So for example, if you're playing 2-2-2 and the enemies are playing triple support, by the time you get your ultimates, the enemies are gonna be like at 60 or 70 or 80% of their ult charge. So you can potentially rush them and beat them before they get their ults. They also have a lot of the time low damage and low killing threat if they're not balanced properly with the proper team comp. And as I said, that goes further on the ult point. They're potentially very susceptible to getting ult cycled. What that means is by the time you get, let's say, 3 ults, they will get only 2. Or when you get 4 ults, they will get 3. Which over the course of the game will actually matter a lot. But it is kind of hard to see on the first glance. Also, triple support kind of needs to run a consistent damage character since they can only have 1 DPS. And that damage character is usually gonna be like a Punisher or Moon Knight that can actually do a lot of consistent damage. Since they only have 1 DPS, they're very vulnerable to one-shot mechanic, like let's say Hawkeye or Arrow, because you can just stand there and not get pressured and just fish for one-shot. They have a very predictable gameplay pattern, so most of the time when you're playing triple support, you're just a meatball comp. You're all 6 group, pretty much. And if you want to have a good ult economy, you need to run 2 tanks. Yes. A lot of the time in ranked, you have people who play triple support when they only have 1 tank and get their ultimate 1 in every 3 business days. So yeah. So this is like a chart that I made that the supports kind of fall into. I think this is pretty accurate. So for example, you can see Adam is on the highest offense and Rocket is on the lowest. And again, this is only for visual reference, so people can imagine what's going on inside my head when I'm talking about this. And this is basically just a fast categorization of the characters. And how do people should actually play triple support optimally? So let's say you're playing triple support, you will probably need to play a lot more offensive as a support yourself. So for example, you're Luna, and You want to hit more shots on the enemies instead of just spam healing your tank, because he's gonna be, since you're running triple support, he's gonna be higher HP a lot of the time, and you don't need to constantly kill him. And same with Cloak, you almost never want to use your healing cape. You always want to use your terror cape, even especially when you're playing triple support, so you can actually kill stuff. And it is pretty important to run the actual proper team comp to maximize ult charge economy and to not waste value and to actually have a good threat level. So on the left, I have 2 defensive supports and 1 main support, and a character of choice basically that does a lot of DPS, and 2 tanks. That team comp actually does a lot of damage through the supports, since Adam and Mantis are offensive supports, and they will do about the same damage as you have 2 DPSs, and about the same healing as you have 2 main healers. But you will have basically 3 support ults. In the middle, you have 3 main supports, which is kind of bad, because they will have way slower ult charge, and since they will not be as offensive, it's all pretty much all on the Hela and the tanks to do incredible damage and somehow kill people. It is not impossible, but you're putting yourself at a really big disadvantage, since you will have way slower ult charge than regularly. On the third row, I have like triple support with the tank, with a single tank, and that's really horrible, because you're almost never gonna get your ult. I mean, you are gonna get it, but it's gonna be so slow that the enemies are gonna lap you so hard, and you're most likely gonna lose. So I've shown you how strong, how to actually play triple support, but what to actually counter it. So there are many ways to counter it. So some of them are through kidnapping and displacement, since you're gonna have a lot more space to actually use those abilities. For example, Wolf Grab, Angela Pull, Thor Pull, Emma Grab, Bucky Hook. We also have some one-shots like Hawkeye, Iron Man, Magneto ult, and you can have some combos like Strange ult with something, or Groot ult with something, or King ult with something like Namor, Moon Knight, Punisher, Phoenix. And on the right, I actually have some characters that, even though they don't really have a one-shot like Phoenix, Hela, and Elsa, they do have a lot of damage, a lot of consistent damage, that if they just let out at the right time, you can one-shot people or make consistent pressure from a safe distance to where eventually someone is gonna die when their cooldowns don't line up. And also for supports, I've added Gambit and Jeff, because Gambit's ult a lot of the time allows you to one-shot through support ults. It's really strong, and it allows you to go with faster ult charge. And Jeff, a lot of the time, since they have obviously lower damage since they're running triple support, they will not be able to kill you in your ult, and that will lead to a kill. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys learned something in this video, and if you have any points I forgot or anything you want me to add, please comment, like and subscribe, and I'm out.